However, there is a third, fourth, fifth gender. And my talk is going to be on the general advocacy and dissent that is going around that. And I'm kind of focusing on the digital sphere, because a lot of the conversation is happening in the digital sphere. I come from advertising, which is good at exploiting any kind of gender, because that's a gender we exploited. Men, women, quite get gender, sometimes gender does not. So I'm taking that kind of a background and when you work into digital as such. With digital media has given very interesting voices with advocacy and dissent. Advocacy for LGBT. Also, let me tell you, because that question will inevitably come from some people that I'm not a gender studies expert. I'm taking it from a media perspective, and that's it. So that because there will be a conflict in some of it. Digital takes it from advocacy and dissent. A lot of it happens over there. Advocacy for communities, LGBT communities, women and men, and also people who want to grow up to be genderless, or parents who wish their children to be genderless. There's a lot of advocacy happening on that. There is also an advocacy which advertising has joined in because of this entire conversation about gender. A lot of advertising on the net is advocating women's rights. You have Tanish, you have a lot of other products, but we must also understand the title also, but we must understand that they're aimed at a certain socioeconomic class. Dissent in terms of digital has been very interesting because we started a long time back with the beginning of the digital movement in India with the Pink Chaddi campaign when one nut said something nutty about women and women, they took women out of pubs and all that in Bangalore, and there was a Pink Chaddi campaign where women who protested sent the pink chaddis across to this particular gentleman, and it was a fair call for that kind of sending, which was interesting. Lately we've seen Nirbhaya, which followed a rape and called a lot of women together. We see LGBT communities coming together with Gay Pride Parade and other communities too. And there's also a nice convergence of what's happening off digital on real ground and on digital, and that convergence is playing out on the digital sphere, which is another very important aspect. We also, the people who we are missing in this fantastic digital sphere, which I think has huge potential, however, are the Dalits. And that community, because Maya Angelou said something very interesting about black women. She said that, if you're black, African American in America, you're the lowest of the totem pole. But if you're an African American woman, you are way below that. You're open to abuse. You have black men like Snoop Dogg and causing, and white men who also have a lot of abuse of the same kind. So while we have advocacy groups for LGBT, and it should be there, and rights and fight against the 377 and gay marriages celebrated with rainbow colors on Facebook, there is also a lot of rights of women which is discussed. There's a lot of rights of other aspects is discussed. One plays out very interestingly that there is very little conversation about Dalit LGBT community, who in India we call hijras, and many of them do come from there. Dalit women, that conversation is also missing completely. And Dalit men, because they are also stuck in this entire paradigm where they are also equally exploited as men. So that conversation is also missing completely, and very few media has conversation for them at all. And very few media is really interested in having that conversation at all. Also, another factor that I'd like to point out, and this is a belief which I have, that because of the digital, despite all this happening, despite a lot of things, the digital community we have things called trollers, and these trollers will generally use a lot of gender negative words to troll, which comes from conventional mindset. Many people have been trolled, and I have been trolled frequently, every day. And one of the words that's used to me is feminist, BITCH, and it's used very, very frequently, and that's the combination. And so they use conventional aspects of what is supposed to be activism, which is feminism is a political activism. I mean, who am I to say that's wrong? Supreme Court of India has said that's not wrong. So am I to say that's wrong? And that is the aspect which the digital is good at promoting. It allows for that kind of advocacy. So that's all of that.